y'all? It's Icon here, and we are doing the last of the DC TV shows. I started doing my reviews with Titans, and then it spilled into the Arrowverse, and I've done every single show, and now we're up to Legends of Mañana, which takes episode 2, because episode 1 was episode 5 of Crisis. So the Legends picks up. It actually picks up right after the Crisis is over. After, I guess like Sara did the whole Hall of Justice thing with the rest of the crew. They start with Ava, and Ava was basically because the events of last season with Legends of Tomorrow, Ray was being taken over by a demon, and he was trying to kill monsters all over the place, and he endangered a whole bunch of people. Nate's dad, who was working for the government, he was basically like funding the Legends like via the government, and then he died. So the government was basically just like, all right, what's going on what's this whole Legends thing about? Ava told them what the Legends do, how they operate, how they save time, and the government was just like, look, we don't trust you people. Although they've been doing it long, like God knows how long, the government's like, we don't trust you people with history, because you might screw it up and there's no transparency. He's like, we don't know what you're doing. So I guess the way to resolve that whole issue, in order for the Legends to keep doing what they're doing and for the government to feel better, they have a film documentary crew. They're shooting a documentary of the Legends. So that's where we're at now. We're having a Legends documentary. It takes, they take you on the ship. We see Ava, she's just like, Sara and some of the other Legends went to go help Oliver Queen in Crisis, in Crisis. Nate was just like, yeah, I passed on the crossover, but basically he wasn't invited. And the Legends are famous now, because the Legends are public, and the government knows about them and people know about them. They're public figures, like, Nate's doing, like magazines, and, everybody knows that Mick is Rebecca Silver, Mona, she's still on the Wave Rider, and she's like his assistant, Constantine's famous. Gary basically got a reprieve because, he turned villain last season and almost doomed us all. He's Constantine's assistant now, which is pretty funny. So the two of them together will be will be a nice pairing. Nora Dark, she's still a fairy godmother, and Ray said that she got a job like fairy godmothering like other people somewhere, so she'll come back eventually. So that was it. So they were basically just like, so they have the camera crew, and everybody, the documentary people, they're on the Wave Rider. Gideon's not acting very well, she's bugging out. And, the camera crew was interviewing everybody individually, and they got to Charlie. And Charlie was just like, yeah, it's cool that we're no longer, like, D-list, like, superheroes, and, like, people respect us, and this, that, and the third. But then she realized, she was just like, I'm kind of bored, like, just sitting on the Wave Rider not doing anything, because, like, Charlie's like, I'm not even a hero, like, I'm just, like, a shapeshifter who've adopted this gorgeous Nubian queen form. And then she was just like, screw you guys, I'm out. And she took the jump ship. She basically just took the jump ship and she bounced. And everybody was okay with that. Like, nobody even tried to stop her. To the point where Charlie did not come back for the rest of the episode. Like, she got in the jump ship, she took off, and that was it. And Charlie was never spoken of, like, ever again. So now, Sara, Ray, and Mick, they're returning from Crisis. And, they're throwing, like, a party for him. Sara sees the cameras, and she's like, what the F is this? And then, the cameras are like, hey, it's Mick Rory, what do you do for the Legends? He was like, I steal things. And, like, Ray was camera shot. But the problem was, like, everybody was basically kind of, like, hamming it up for the camera. Like, because they knew they were on camera, they were trying to be celebrities. Like, they were overacting, they were overdoing everything. They were trying too hard to, shine. For lack of a better term. Sara wasn't happy because she's like, she has her memories from Crisis. Ray has his memories from Crisis. Like, actually, I don't think Mick does. I don't think they brought Mick's memory back. Mick's whole thing was, he was just mad because Mick was just mad because they stopped his book signing. I don't think Jean brought Mick's memories back, but maybe he did. Who knows? But everybody else, like, all they know is, they just know, like, this one world with everybody on it. Like Nate even said, because when Ray was just like, we did the crossover, there was Batwoman, there was Oliver, there was the Flash, and then Nate was even like, well, dude, Superman wasn't there. He's like, if Superman wasn't there, it's like, how serious could this have been? So he knows that there's a Superman. But the events of Legends of last season of Legends, it still continues. Even like Zari's brother, he's still there because at the end of last season, she changed history and she got turned into her brother. So her brother's been on the ship, and everybody is just like, yeah, this is how it's always been. You know, Sarah's cool with them. Like, you know, like again, like they have nobody knows that Zari existed. You know, like she's just like poof, like she's out of everyone's mind. So Sarah's trying to like cope with the whole like film crew thing. You know, Ava even told her, she was just like, listen, we need to do this in order to save the Legends' asses if we want to keep the Wave Rider. So that was the conditions in order for them to keep the Wave Rider. So Sarah has to play along with the documentary. So then a time quake happens, and they find out that Rasputin, you know, from the past is still alive, and he was supposed to die. And Constantine looked into it. You know, like he was going through, he was basically like, he ran down like a lead from like an old, you know, he was basically like a kid who was possessed by a demon that he knew. He spoke to the kid, because like also at the end of last season, when Constantine was in hell, he was helping this girl, I guess like it was, because I never saw the Constantine series, but from what I can gather from last season of Legends, there was a girl who Constantine, basically, I guess he had to like send her to hell, or she got sent to hell and he couldn't save her. So last season, he goes into hell and he bumps into the girl. She's all grown up now. And, you know, she hates Constantine. She wants revenge on him. The two of them end up working together. And she took, like, some coins or whatever. Because there was a room that they went into. Because they were looking for Ray's soul. And while they were looking for Ray's soul, he found, like, Constantine got Ray's soul. And then the girl, she ended up taking, like, some coins. And then she just bounced. And then Constantine was like, all right, whatever. Like, you know, you do you. Come to find out, she used those coins to purchase souls in hell. So I'm assuming that the souls that she purchased were the souls of historical deceased villains. We'll just call them villains, Rasputin being one of them. So Constantine rolled up on dude. He was just like, yeah, she's letting them all out. And he was just like, yeah, she's in hell letting out all these souls. So Constantine's like, I bet. He ends up getting back. He goes back to the Wave Rider. I don't know why he had to do this on the Wave Rider. He goes to the Wave Rider. He makes you know, he makes like a circle, whatever. He does like his magic thing, and he goes to hell to confront the girl about letting the spirits out. He tells Sara, so Sarah's perfectly aware of it. But they got to stop Rasputin, and for some reason he can't die. Well, he can't die because the girl brought his soul back. So no matter what they do, they can't kill him. Sarah's kind of like stressed out, you know, and the entire team, like, they want to make the transition easy for her. They want to, like, you know, take this burden off of her plate. So Nate and Ray decide, oh, we'll just calm Rasputin down, and then, you know, we can move on. Ramona's like, well, there was a woman that he loved, so I'll write him a love letter on behalf of her, and then they'll fall in love, and then they'll go away, and then everything will be perfectly fine. Ava's whole thing was, I'm just gonna kill this motherfucker. So, you know, and then she was like, yo, Mick, you want to come? And he was like, oh yeah, you know. So all three of them went to do that. It didn't happen. You know, Ray was, they brought the camera crew with them, which was like retarded. And they brought the camera crew. Ray's interviewing this dude like on camera, and he has no idea what a camera is. And Rasputin had said to him at one point, he was like, yo, I can look into your eyes and see that, you know, like, you've lost someone. Obviously, he's talking about Zari. And Ray, you know, and Nate's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So he used it, I guess he has like hypnosis powers or whatever the hell powers he had. He basically got into Nate's mind, and he brought back the thought and the memory of Zari. So Nate now remembers that he loves someone. He just doesn't know who she is, or he doesn't know her name. You know, so obviously in true Legends fashion, the whole thing goes wrong, you know, with Ava trying to kill him, and with the whole letter and everything, and then, like, this whole big problem happens, and, you know, like, you know, Rasputin's about to kill everybody, the Legends bounce, they go back to the Wave Rider. So they go back to the Wave Rider, Sarah's, like, mad at them, she was like, oh, yeah, I messed up, you know, she was like, you know, and they were just like, oh, we were trying to help you, and then she was like, the best way you could have helped me was to talk to me, because she was like, you guys are my friends, you know, like, you know, a man that she loved, you know, like one of her closest friends of all time, the last person who knew her before she became captain, passed away. And she was like, I wanted to talk about this with my friends. But instead of talking to her, because Ava told everybody, don't mention Oliver Queen, don't talk about Oliver Queen. And then that's exactly what Sara needed, you know. So she's mad at them, they feel bad. So Sara and Zari's brother, they end up going back to Rasputin's thing because they're going to kill him themselves. They're just like, look, we can't trust the team because they're too starstruck and like they're not thinking straight, so they go in there alone. Obviously, ish hits the fan, and the Legends decide, like, oh, we're just going to go in there and help her anyway. So they go in there, you know, it's a whole big Legends brawl, everybody gets into this huge fight. Ray, he's in the Atom suit, he shrinks, you know, Sara ends up throwing Ray inside of Rasputin's mouth, you know, Ray wakes, Ray, because Ray got knocked out. She throws Ray in Rasputin's mouth. Ray wakes up. He doesn't know where he is. She's like, just grow. Ray grows. He turns normal size, kills Rasputin because he's in his body. His guts are everywhere. But because he can't die, they took his remains and put them in like 6 or 7 different jars, so the jars couldn't bring themselves back together to reform him. So now he exists on the Wave Rider. Constantine drunk his remains to go to hell. That was some nasty shit. So and that was it. Like Sara and Ava patched things up. Ramona, when Mick read the love letter that that Mona wrote, he was just like, yo, kid, like, you got skills from a writer. She's like, I learned from Rebecca Silver, who's the best. And then he was just like, yo, like, you could be a novelist. And then she was like, you know what, you're right, but I can't be a novelist on the Wave Rider. Because she was just like, you're Rebecca Silver, you wrote some of the greatest, like love novels of all time. But because you've been on the Wave Rider and you don't actually interact with people or go out into the world, she's like, your last book kind of sucked. So she was like, I'm not going to end up like you, which was jacked up. And she's like, I'm going to go off into the world, experience love, relationships, life, sex, this, that, and the third. And then she's like, I'm going to write a book that'll make you proud. Obviously, one of the historical villains that's been restored, she'll end up dating him at some point. Like, it's just a matter of who. That's completely obvious. Because I don't think Mona's leaving the show. So if she's not leaving the show, that's pretty much what's going to happen to her. So she leaves the ship. Makes just like, she tried to play me. That's not cool. Nate is talking to Zari's brother. They just chilling. He ends up, because they were trying to like reboot Gideon. Come to find out, because Oliver rebooted the universe, Gideon is like, she's malfunctioning because Gideon, she's a time computer. Like, she's supposed to retain all this information. Gideon has computerized knowledge of before Crisis and after Crisis. So because those two things are, messing up her data bank, Gideon's kind of like going like wonky. So they had to reboot her, I guess, to get her fixated on like one specific like timeline. But Zari, because Gideon has old pre-Crisis memories, Zari had made a message for Nate. So the message pops up because Nate, he was like, all right, we're about to reboot Gideon right now. So they're waiting for the countdown for the reboot to happen. And Zari pops up, and then she's just like, Nate, she was like, if you see this message, that means I changed the time and I don't exist anymore. But she's like, I love you, come find me. And then he's just like, yo, who the hell is this? And then Gideon reboots, the message disappears, it gets erased. He knows what she looks like now, but now he's just like, Nate's like going all crazy. And it's kind of slick how like they got her brother like out of that room right before the message popped up, because Nate, Ray, and I can't remember his name. Nate, Ray, and the brother, the three of them are like bros. So when he finds out that Nate has a crush on his sister, that's actually going to be very funny. Because again, the Zari family, they're from the future. They're not from the present. Because even the brother, because he's on the Wave Rider, he went to go see his own birth. So like he saw himself being born. So Zari's probably maybe like 4 or 5 years old. So obviously because she never got on the Wave Rider and that whole thing never happened, she's in the future. So there will obviously be an episode where they go back to the future, to the brothers' like actual time. Nate will bump into Zari, and then they'll get into some legend shenanigans. But that was pretty cool. Charlie never came back. So I don't know what's going on with Charlie. Mona dipped. Constantine dipped. They're kind of thinning out the herd of this cast. Like Nora Dark, got an honorable mention. Ray's supposed to be leaving the show at some point. So I have no idea where Legends is going. The only thing I can say about Legends is that they're like, again, like the chick from the Constantine show, she's raising these demons from the dead, and these demons will be the villains going forward. So that was it. Legends got off to a good start. Like, the episode was entertaining, it was cool, it was fun, and like I enjoyed it. So so we're here for the ride, because Arrow review is coming up over the weekend, and then after that we got one more episode of Arrow to go. And I'm not happy about that. So that was it. Thank you, for everybody that's watching my other videos, because again, I'm doing Supergirl, Batwoman, Titans, Arrow, Flash, Black Lightning, Legends of Tomorrow. I'm doing the whole shebang. I'm doing wrestling. Like, we got the Royal Rumble coming up this weekend. I'll do my reaction for the Royal Rumble and for Worlds Collide as well. So thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment, like, and or subscribe. And for Legends of Tomorrow, until next time, I'm out this bitch.